Have you ever heard of the Italian pasta dish rotolo? I hadn't either until very recently, and I'm super intrigued and I'm gonna try to make one today. A rotolo, which translates to roll, is a rolled and filled pasta dish that is then boiled, sliced, sauced, and served. I got this idea from the most recent season of Chef's Table, watching the Jamie Oliver episode. Apparently this was the dish he was making when he was discovered, and his rotolo is very fall flavored, including some things like butternut squash and ricotta. So I thought today, on this beautiful spring day, I would try my hand at making this somewhat complicated rolled pasta dish, but yet make it appropriate for spring. So my rotolo, if all goes well, cross your fingers, is going to be very springy. Spinach, mint, peas, pine nuts, prosciutto, parmesan, a little bit of lemon, all things spring, encased in some delicious homemade pasta, rolled, boiled, sauced with some brown butter sage sauce, and served. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. So I've made a few rolled things in this kitchen, but I've never boiled rolled pasta. So this method is new to me, and it could really go either way. In front of me, I have Jamie Oliver's recipe. His was with spinach, squash, and ricotta, and it looks delicious. But again, I'm gonna tweak those flavors. And then consulting my very favorite Italian cookbook, The Silver Spoon, which is an excellent cookbook for both method and recipes. There are several different types of rotolos in this book, some that are actually seafood, and the two main are fontina and ham and potato and cheese. So I have a sneaking suspicion that this rotolo would work really well with all sorts of different ingredients, and really what I'm teaching myself here today is the method. So I'm gonna consult this book, Jamie's recipe, a little bit of online research that I've done, and we're gonna get going making this spring rotolo. So a note about special tools. There's a couple different ways to do this. Some of the rotolos actually are baked in the oven. I'm going to take what seems to be more complicated route of boiling this pasta roll, which means I need a longer and narrower dish than is normal, or that perhaps you might have in your kitchen. I've seen folks cut these rotolos into smaller sections and wrap them individually, which is a perfectly valid option. But I thought it was time to pull out my fish kettle, which I don't actually use all of that often, especially in the wintertime. It's definitely much more of a summertime tool for me when I'm poaching tons of fish. But this is a great vessel in which I'm going to cook my long and thin pasta roll. So I've got that over on the stove full of hot water ready for me. And then I am gonna make pasta, so in front of me I have my KitchenAid with the pasta attachment. I've read that you can actually do this with lasagna noodles and do really small individual rotolos, but I thought, why not? Let's go all in and see how close I can get to the original, and that's what we're gonna do today. So the first step is to make the pasta. I have really been enjoying making fresh pasta lately, and it is somewhat of a chore, but there's something so super satisfying about it to me. So I'm gonna show you one of the ways that I do that. The pasta recipe is really, really simple. It's 600 grams of this 00 or extra fine flour. It actually says 00 or extra fine. All-purpose flour works okay for pasta as well, but 00 flour will get you just a more pleasing pasta result. This is found just with the rest of the flours in your baking aisle, though some of my local grocery stores don't stock 00 flour, so you may have to go to a more specialty or even an Italian specialty store. So we're going 600 grams of flour, a little bit of salt, and then 6 eggs. And I just do this by tearing out my scale with the bag of flour, and then I just start pouring flour directly on my bench until I'm at 600 grams. Perfect. Then I just make a little bit of a well in the center. I am gonna sprinkle a little bit of salt in. Now we start cracking eggs. Six egg in, a little bit of a beat in the middle of the flour, and then start just gently working the flour in. I always make a big mess when I do this, and I think of those, have you seen any videos of people doubling the eggs in their pasta every day? Starting with 1 egg and ending with like hundreds of eggs. It's gotta be so messy. That's all I can think when I see it. Okay, this is coming together nicely. And now I just need to knead it until it's an elastic, shiny ball that springs back when you touch it. So that's gonna take 5 to 7 minutes. Looking pretty good. It's like 5 minutes later. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, pasta dough is done. Just gonna toss some plastic wrap on this. Look how pretty that dough is. It's such a nice looking dough. Toss some plastic wrap on this, set it to the side, and then get over to the stove and start cooking our sauce. So I've read lots of different ways to do this, But I think we're looking for flavor and consistency over specific measurements, especially this first time that I do it, since I'm just kind of winging it. So I'm gonna put about a tablespoon of olive oil. And then beside me, I have like 4 cloves of garlic that I've just thinly sliced. Whole bunch of mint. This is some lemon zest. I'm gonna try red chili flake. Oh, I think I wanna use some nutmeg as well. Nutmeg goes really well with anything dark green. And since we're using a whole ton of spinach, I think nutmeg will work really well with that. But I just want to get the garlic in. It's starting to go fragrant. So garlic is going to go right in. I'm going to add some red chili flake now too. I think we can likely bump up the heat a little bit. It's nice to bloom the spices too, so put the red chili flake in the oil. It heats it up, let some of the essential oils release. You get a little bit more bang for your buck with your spices that way. I thought the combination of mint and peas, of course, is delicious. I wanted some spinach just to bulk up the veggies in this a little bit. So I have like 16 ounces of peas. These are just frozen peas. I looked for fresh peas. I think they would be even better, but I couldn't find any in my grocery store. So I think what I'm gonna do is just wilt this spinach down right in that oil, start cooking it down. Salt and pepper. And I was thinking originally that I was going to cook the peas right in with the spinach mixture, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to boil those separately and then combine it at the end. So I'm just going to keep flavoring our spinach mixture. Put in our lemon zest, a little bit of nutmeg. Some of the lemon juice. And I think that spinach garlic mixture is done. I think that's as far as I'm going to take it. Into a bowl, off to the side. Again, since we're just testing this recipe, there's probably a more efficient way to do this. I might change the way I write the recipe down below, but for now, I'm going to cook these things separately. I'm going to put just a tiny little bit of chicken stock in here for these peas to groove in. Salt. Pepper, the other half of our lemon. And then my thought was I would kind of start to mash these peas, have a little bit of texture, but mostly make them kind of creamy in the background with that spinach. I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of butter, just for some flavor. I wanna keep some of the green color, so I'm gonna take them off the heat and just keep mashing them a little bit. They're definitely cooked. Okay, I'm gonna toss in our mint. This is like probably 2 to 3 solid tablespoons of mint. Immediately minty. I can smell the lemon, I can smell the garlic. It's smelling really good. So these are not super liquidy, which is exactly what I wanted. So I'm just gonna mix them in with the spinach, see what we have going. Okay, so we've got kind of those creamy mashed peas mixed in with the spinach. I just used a potato masher to mash some of those carefully in my nonstick pan. Try not to hit the bottom. It's smelling really good. I'm gonna add some ricotta to this to try to make it a little more spreadable, but I'm gonna taste it first to see where we are. That's really nice. I like it. The peas are kind of sweet, tangy from the garlic and the olive oil, a little bit of butter, nice and rich. I could use a little bit more fat, but I'm gonna add a whole bunch of ricotta and some parmesan on the top. The peas are nice and sweet. I think it's really good. I like it. I might think more about the texture the next time I do this, but for now, I think this will be pretty spreadable once we mix in the ricotta. So I don't think I'm gonna put pine nuts in this pasta now that I think about it. I might toast some of those and sprinkle them on top with the fried sage and brown butter. Pretty happy with this so far. A little springtime pasta filling. Okay, so this needs to cool before I mix in the ricotta. So I'm just gonna set this off to the side and set up to roll out our pasta. Mint, yes. I added some butter, 2 tablespoons butter to the filling. So far, looking great. Okay, time to roll out the pasta. So what we're looking to do is, okay, after going through every kitchen towel in my drawer. We're actually gonna boil the pasta in the kitchen towel. And if I had one that was fully, completely white with no dyes, I would use it, but these have been washed so unbelievably many times that I'd be surprised if anything will come out in the water. So that's a pretty big one. This one's a little bit smaller, but the intent is to basically make a big sheet of pasta, like maybe about this size actually, maybe even a little bit bigger. We're gonna do it in a couple different sheets in the KitchenAid, kind of stitch them together a little bit, and then using the tea towel, we'll roll up the pasta roll. And then we're gonna use some kitchen twine, just some unbleached kitchen twine to wrap up the ends so that the whole thing stays together. And we're boiling the pasta in the kitchen towel actually. So I'm gonna use this as a size reference. I think I want something kind of close to this, but this is the one I'm gonna use to wrap the pasta up with. So I'll put that off to the side. So I think I'm gonna do three different sections of this dough. Separate this into thirds. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, so I'm just gonna make some pasta. So I think I'm gonna try to do 3 long-ish noodles and then kind of stitch them together. I've got a little bit of just water here that I'm gonna use to kind of press them together. But I think we'll also be able to use the tea towel to make sure it's all wrapped up nicely. So I'm not too worried about that, but we'll see. I've never done this before, so we're doing it for the first time together. So I'm not gonna take this too thin. It needs to have a little bit of bulk to hold the filling in. So I don't want it as thin as like a lasagna noodle. Maybe that's the way I would shoot for it after I've done this a couple times, but since this is new to me, we're gonna start a little thicker than that. But regardless, here we go. So I think I'm just gonna do a little bit of a water seal, just to stick them barely together. Oh yeah, they stick nicely. I don't want to overlap too much. I mean, I think we're doing it. Okay, I think we did it. That was pretty easy. So let's see, when I roll this, I think I want to be able to use the kitchen towel. To be as gentle as I can. Yeah, we have one big noodle. One big noodle. The last things are ricotta, parmesan on top, a little bit of lemon if we want to brighten it up some, and then I'm going to put some prosciutto on top of the filling. So I'm just going to measure how much ricotta I use. Let's see. Lemon. That's better. I like that. Tastes good. Creamy, tangy, spicy. I think that's great. Now comes the wrap and roll. This is all the space I have in my fish kettle. It's gonna be too big. I think I can flub that. Okay, so I'm not gonna go overboard with the filling here. I probably will have extra, but I do wanna leave a little bit of a border here that I'm actually going to need a little water on this end border to seal the pastas together. So we'll do that first. And again, I'm not trying to go crazy with the amount of filling I'm using. This is gonna be like almost bang on the amount of filling we need. That's exciting. That never happens to me. Okay, now maybe prosciutto. Now one thing I'm thinking with the prosciutto is I'm gonna rip it a little bit I don't want it to be hard to cut. So instead of full sheets, I'm just gonna rip it. Try to scatter it evenly. Liking the way these quantities are working out. For having never made this before, things are working pretty well so far. I hope I didn't just jinx myself. Prosciutto on, now we go on with some parm. This looks amazing. Super excited about this. Okay, wish me luck. It's time to roll. I mean, I'm not gonna say I did that like an expert, but the wheels didn't come off the bus, which is nice. Okay, let's see. Have some rogue cheese. That's okay. I think it's working. Okay, so now this goes in my fish kettle. Oh, I don't think it's gonna be long enough, but we're gonna try. In my fish kettle for like 25 minutes. And while it's cooking, I'm gonna brown some butter and fry some sage, and that's gonna be the little sauce, as well as some toasted pine nuts and some Parmesan that we're gonna put down over this bad boy when it comes out. But for now, I'm just gonna gently transfer this from here over into some salted water. So just one question, guys. How do we know when a rotolo is done? It's been boiling for 25 minutes, which is what it said. I even let it go for like a minute longer than I should have. And it's been fully submerged, so I guess we just assume it's done. It's a lot of really good ingredients to waste if it's not, but I'm willing to take one for the team. So it's got to cool a little before we cut it, but I am supposed to take it out of this roll. I guess if I do this gently and it's not completely cooked through, maybe I can salvage it. It's actually done. It really does not look like it. Amazingly, it's cooked. We had a little blowout. So it doesn't look especially appetizing like this. But the little bite that I had at the end, it tasted really good. What happened here is my roll was too big for my pan. And so this is the part where it was kind of kinked a little bit. So that's a good learning. Either do this in multiple rolls or don't kink it or get a bigger pan. I don't think you could do a long one like this though in a stock pot. I was thinking that maybe you could kind of wrap it around a stock pot, but I don't think it'll work. So my best advice is to do a few narrower or shorter rolls versus one long roll and see where that takes you. But now I'm gonna try to plate some up. I hope that it cuts. It's not cool, but it's cooled down a little bit. So I'm just gonna take a little bit off the edge here. Oh, that looks pretty good. Should we taste it? I wanna taste a little. I've still got other things to pour over the top, but I'm so curious. Well, it's edible. The pasta could definitely have gone longer, but I'm pretty happy with that. This looks amazing. Brown butter, crispy sage, pine nuts, and Parmesan on top of a pea, spinach, ricotta, Parmesan, prosciutto, mint, rotolo. Let's taste. The prosciutto is a good call. Easy to make this vegetarian, but that prosciutto was nice. Not bad at all. Thank you for the inspiration, Jamie Oliver, and my Silver Spoon cookbook. I think this is a method where you could put 100 things in this pasta. Exceedingly versatile. The key for me though is getting the pasta cooked appropriately. We were almost there. It's probably just a little bit too al dente. So maybe like 3 or 4 more minutes would have worked well. And then I've got to size my roll a little bit better because we had some breakage. none of that will go to waste. It's absolutely delicious and we'll eat it all. Yeah, it'd probably be a little more impressive if it all came out in one roll, although that single roll does not look all that appetizing, but it's kind of cool to be able to slice and plate like we did. The fried sage is perfect. I do really like a little bit of fresh mint over the top too. For me, it's kind of that perfect combination between something that's really springy, but also a little bit hearty. You could add a red sauce to this, a bechamel sauce. You could even take this, put a little bit of Parmesan on the top, stick it under your broiler, cut up like this, and get the crispy bits on the pasta on the top. That could be really good, but I'm in absolute love with the mint, peas, spinach, ricotta, Parmesan, prosciutto, pine nuts, brown butter. Lots of flavors. You don't have to make it this complicated, but I really liked this recipe. It's not often that I cook something that's this complicated, do it for the first time and have it come out this well. I'm really pleased with this. It's something I would serve and something I'm so excited to have leftovers of. Please let me know in the comments down below. Have you tried this method before? Have you ever heard of a rotolo? I know that there are a zillion different types of pasta and I'm just kind of dipping a toe into some of the more creative ones, but I'd love to hear which your go-tos are. Please leave me a comment. Let me know. Appreciate your time with me today. I hope you enjoyed. If this video, please give it a like, stick around, subscribe. I would love to have you, and I look forward to seeing you here next time. Cheers.